everybody, welcome back. Another guitar. This is the Schecter Diamond Series, and this is the Schecter Nick Johnston Traditional. So this is the import version of the Schecter Nick Johnston guitar, made in Indonesia. So Nick Johnston also has a custom shop Schecter under his name that is made in the USA. And this is the import version, as I said. So I got this guitar because I was curious about everybody talking about these on YouTube and forums, chat regarding how good these are in comparison to a Fender made in Mexico Strat. And a lot of positive feedback, a lot of good things said. Needless to say, Musician's Friend ran one of their stupid deals of the day. This guitar was, significantly reduced. It was $4.99 as opposed to $8.99, which is the normal price. So it was, half price or almost half price. And I said, let me take a chance because the specs on this thing are very, very good. So let's talk about the guitar a little bit and how it compares. So in any event, the body on this is alder. The wood is alder, which is the same as a made in Mexico Player Series Strat. But you can see on the back of the neck, it is baked maple, right? And that's the headstock back, which is kind of cool. It has Nick Johnston's name engraved, burned in to the wood with a little, square. I guess his insignia, whatever, on the square. Again, these are made in Indonesia. Now, the tuners are also another highlight on this guitar. As you can see, they are locking tuners, Schecter branded locking tuners, and they work extremely well. The wood on the fretboard is ebony, which is also kind of an uplift, right, on these guitars. Has a triple ply pickguard, right? White, black, white. And it's a mint green. You really can't see it well on the camera, but it's a mint green, which is, I'm not really crazy about, I'll have to admit. I don't know if that goes extremely well with this color pink. Although, that's the other thing, other bone of contention with the guitar. We'll get to in a minute. The bridge is a typical, Strat-style bridge. It has it's a two-point tremolo, and the other nice thing about this guitar is the tremolo arm on here, if you can see that, is one of these that you just pop in to the guitar. It's not a screw-in tremolo. It is locked down, so there's very little movement. It's not a floating bridge at all at this point. The headstock I like, actually. It's almost like a Sir type of a headstock. Schecter Diamond Series, right? I also like the neck plate, which has a little bit of bling to it, right? It says Schecter Guitar Research, California, USA. It's basically a Strat, really, with some additional nice features, and we'll talk about the additional nice features in a second. So, first off, it's got one volume and one tone, as opposed to one volume and two tones that you get on your normal Strats. And I kind of like the simplified controls, a single tone and a single volume. 5-way switch, very solid feeling 5-way switch. Here is the neck position. Here is the neck in the middle. Just the middle position. Middle and bridge. And then finally the bridge pickup alone. So it's got your standard wiring for a Strat. 2 and 4 positions are wireless. The inlays are kind of unusual on here, which again, I'm not crazy about. They're brass inlays, and you can barely see them, right? They're just circles that are not filled in. And with my old eyes, in dark lighting, I can't see these. I have to go by the frets, the fret markers on the top of the neck. So that I'm not crazy about. But let's talk about the other things on the guitar. So this is a thin C neck. It's not a shred neck, I wouldn't say thin like an Ibanez Wizard, but it is thinner than the Fender Player Series, slightly thinner. And it has a flatter fretboard. This is a 14-inch radius as opposed to a 9.25-inch radius on the Player Series. The frets are different too. These are extra jumbo frets, whereas a Player has medium jumbos. Some of the shredders and guitar players like the extra jumbo frets. Has a Graphtec Tusk nut, which is a nice appointment. What else? Oh, the other thing that's kind of cool is this truss rod adjustment is a wheel at the base of the neck, as opposed to your normal truss rod adjustment over here on the headstock. So that's kind of more accessible, easily accessible. What else? Pickups. 3 singles like you'd find on a Strat. These are Alnico 5s, I believe. They're not really clearly stated on the Schecter website, or anywhere for that matter. I've had to dig a little deeper into the pickups. But they are nice sounding pickups. Otherwise, the cutaways and everything are typical Strat. You know, your belly cut in the back and your slope over here. So it's got your typical, Strat style cuts. The neck joint is a little angled for easier access, and that's kind of cool. Finishing was pristine. There were no typical Fender neck stress marks at the base of the neck. Nothing. No cracks in the varnish. Nothing. The finish of the guitar was beautiful. Fret ends smooth as silk. So kudos to Schecter for really doing a great job on the quality control before they send this guitar out. Really nice. So let's talk about what I like about this guitar as opposed to your normal suspect, the F word, the Fender word on the Strats. It is different. First off, on a Player Series at least, this has the roasted maple neck, which is very, very smooth and a great feeling neck. I love it. The ebony fretboard is an uplift over the rosewood on the Fenders and the Laurels on the older models. The extra jumbo frets, the 22 extra jumbo frets, that's a nice feature as opposed to what the Players come with in the medium jumbos. Graphtec nut. I think this is a better nut than the bone nuts supposedly that are on the Players. Also, I love the fact that they have the adjustment for the truss rod here, the wheel. That's a nice touch that Schecter has. It's a two-way adjustable wheel on the base of the neck. Locking tuners. That's something that Fender doesn't put on their Player Series guitar, and that's a nice addition to the Schecter. Pickups, I think, comparable. They're different, right? These are a little bit more modern sounding. They're a little fuller, a little bit more oomph than the pickups that I found on the Player. They're those Alnico 5s as well, but they're more vintage style. And you get a lot more of that glassy Fender-ish sound on Strats than you do on these pickups. So if you're going for that pure glassy Fender pickup sound, you may like the Player Series. If you want something a little bit more, comfortable with distortion and sounding a little thicker and fuller with distortion, you may like this Nick Johnston better. And his style of play, obviously it doesn't surprise me that these types of pickups, these are Nick Johnston pickups. They're not the same as in the American guitar, but these are supposedly wound as closely to the specs of the American Nick Johnston as possible. One volume, one tone. If you like to have that additional tone control, maybe a negative. I think it's a positive in my opinion. I like the simplicity. Input jack. That's a huge benefit in my opinion. It's right there. The Strats, as you know, have it right over here. And I like it much better over here. It's out of the way. Doesn't affect playing at all. The other thing, too, is that because this is only one volume and one tone, the controls are lower. So normally with a Strat, it's around here, volume, tone, and it kind of gets in the way if you're picking. This is out of the way, which is nice for most people, at least, right? What else? Trying to think. 14-inch radius. Fenders have the 9.5-inch radius. Those are the main differences between this guitar and, let's say, a Fender Player Series. Now, What I don't like about this guitar is the fact that this was described as atomic coral. Now, I'm hoping that it would have a little bit more orange like coral does, an orange pinky color. This is bubblegum pink. I don't know how well this is coming up on the camera, or you can see the color on the camera. But trust me, it is bubblegum Pepto-Bismol pink, which I'm not crazy about personally. But that was what was on sale. The other colors it comes in are white, atomic white, and atomic green, which is more of a not as bright green, believe it or not, even though it's called atomic green. But yeah, this is not one of my favorite colors. Let me know your thoughts. I'm curious. But yeah, so it's a nice guitar. It's a nice playing guitar. I think the pickups sound good. I'll just go through, basic chords in all 5 positions so you can hear. Here's the neck pickup. Here is the neck in the middle. Just the middle. Middle and bridge. And just the bridge. So guys, if you're looking for something a little bit different, a little bit more modern possibly, you may like the Nick Johnston traditional Stratocaster, or electric guitar, I should say. They can't use Stratocaster. The Nick Johnston traditional. Again, if you can find these on sale now, Musician's Friend had it for $4.99. This is, I believe, they were clearing out new stock, new old stock, because this guitar serial number indicates that it was a 2022 build. So it's clearly new old stock. I checked on Musician's Friend. They're not selling this color anymore, so I believe they were just discontinuing it or blowing out this atomic pink, which might not be a bad idea in my opinion. So in any event, if you like these videos, guys, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. No gig bag, nothing else came with this other than the tremolo bar and the Allen wrench. And until the next time, guys, be well and stay safe. Take care.